The other players in the league can't stand Caitlyn Clark. I mean, it's baffling.
Caitlyn Clark was named All-Star captain. Why didn't they just make the whole WNBA?
Absolutely pure jealousy.
The one player that has guarded 94 feet all game.
Jealousy, baby. Someday they will realize what she has done for all of the players in the WNBA. Chartered planes, increase in salary, sold out crowds, improved TV ratings.
She was supposed to be celebrated. Instead, Caitlyn Clark is being hunted. From subtle shade on podcasts to targeted physicality on the court, the attacks aren't just coming from rivals. They're coming from former WNBA players.
Caitlyn Clark effect, the #1 backtracker.
It shows the envy. It shows the spite.
Yes.
Of players in the league. That's what it shows.
If a team is picking up one player 94 feet all game, it means the scouting reports that the player doesn't like pressure, has contact, is slow or counterable.
Who once built the league she's now elevating. It started with a tweet. Then came coded jabs on national panels. Now, it's become personal.
It shows their pettiness. It shows the envy. It shows the spite.
Yes.
Of players in the league. That's what it shows. So we're going to vote her 9th, and she's in her 2nd year. She hasn't earned it yet.
The energy around Caitlyn Clark isn't just competitive, it's threatening. And as the spotlight on her grows brighter, so does the aggression. What was once whispered disrespect has become a full-blown campaign.
It's jealousy, right? I mean, there's nothing else. They don't have to say anything. This speaks for itself. The anonymous vote speaks for itself, where they're doing this out of spite.
The other players in the league can't stand Caitlyn Clark.
And fans are finally asking the question that's been building for weeks. Is Caitlyn Clark safe? Because when envy turns to resentment and resentment turns to targeted hostility, the line between basketball and danger starts to blur.
Absolutely pure jealousy.
Jealousy, baby.
Someday they will realize what she has done for all of the players in the WNBA. Chartered planes, increase in salary, sold out crowds, improved TV ratings.
The one player that has guarded 94 feet all game. Come on, man. That is absolutely not the reason. And that is a complete compliment to Caitlyn Clark.
It all started with a tweet, but it exposed something much darker brewing beneath the surface. When former WNBA All-Star Kelsey Bone implied that Caitlyn Clark has picked up full court because she's slow or counterable.
But they guard her when she steps off the plane. Exactly. They guard her full court. They guard her when she wakes up, when she goes to sleep. 94 feet, 75 feet, hand checking, blitzing, physicality, rough her up. They throw the kitchen sink when they're going up against Caitlyn Clark.
It's unbelievable. It really is. There is so much pettiness, jealousy, resentment.
The comments spread like wildfire. But it wasn't just the insult. It was the intent behind it. That wasn't analysis. That was a shot. A disguised attack from someone who once played the game at the highest level. And the message was loud and clear. Clark isn't just competing, she's being targeted.
Absolutely not the reason. And that is a complete compliment to Caitlyn Clark. Because if you don't guard her 94 feet or you don't make it uncomfortable for her to cross that line, she's going to do to you what she did to the Liberty. She's going to just pull up and smack right from 32 plus feet out.
What followed was a wave of veiled hostility, not just from current players, but from former legends and veterans, the same women who should be protecting the next generation, now throwing jabs both online and on air.
The other players in the league can't stand Caitlyn Clark. I mean, it's baffling. I've seen some people trying to claim she shouldn't be in the game. She's tied for the league lead in assists, for crying out loud.
Instead of celebrating Caitlyn's record-breaking rookie season, they're challenging her toughness, questioning her athleticism, and dismissing her impact as nothing more than media hype. But fans aren't blind. They see what's really happening.
She ain't even arguing with the referees no more, bro. They're trying to break her spirit. These players, they're already envious and jealous of her. So if you're going to give them an inch, they're going to take a mile.
There is so much pettiness, jealousy, resentment.
Caitlyn Clark isn't just being played tough, she's being hunted. And the energy on the court proves it. Every time she checks in, the tone shifts. Elbows get sharper, screens get harder, and when she gets fouled, refs look the other way. It's not just about competition, it's personal, it's calculated, and it's getting more intense with every game.
There is so much pettiness, jealousy, resentment. All-Star game last year did a gargantuan all-time rating.
They guard her full court. They guard her when she wakes up, when she goes to sleep. 94 feet, 75 feet, hand checking, blitzing, physicality, rough her up. They throw the kitchen sink when they're going up against Caitlyn Clark.
Even analysts have called it out. One insider described it as bitter energy in the air, a tension that surrounds her the moment she steps on the floor. And while Clark continues to lead the league in assists and sellout arenas, the narrative from some corners remains the same.
Broke the records while being guarded 94 feet didn't matter. You have to guard her as soon as she crossed that line. She's on some Stephen Curry type of defensive attention, man.
If a team is picking up one player 94 feet all game, it means the scouting reports that the player doesn't like pressure, has contact, is slow or counterable.
She's overrated. She's slow. She doesn't belong. And the more she proves them wrong, the more aggressive they become.
If a team is picking up one player 94 feet all game, it means the scouting reports that the player doesn't like pressure, has contact, is slow or counterable. If they're being picked up 94 feet the entire game, it's because they want to be tired out.
This isn't about basketball anymore. It's about power. Caitlyn Clark has shifted the WNBA's center of gravity, and there are players, both past and present, who can't handle it. So instead of embracing her rise, they're trying to beat her down, not with skill, but with force, with hostility, with threats to her body and mind.
Caitlyn Clark brings the rating. She brings the fans to the All-Star game vote. If you're curious, last year's All-Star game voting for the two teams combined, all 30 players, 1.1 million, 1.17 million total votes combined.
And now fans are starting to worry. Where does this end? The attacks aren't just physical, they're psychological, and they're coming from players who should know better. Veterans, former stars, and league voices who once fought for visibility and respect are now using their platforms to tear down the one rookie who's bringing more eyes to the WNBA than ever before.
Folks get on here and act like being guarded 94 feet is a compliment. It's not. If a team is picking up one player 94 feet all game, it means the scouting report says that player doesn't like pressure / contact, is slow, or can't dribble. If you're gonna say it, stand on it. Most of the time, when a team is guarding a player 94 feet most of the game, they're trying to wear that player out. They're trying to wear on that player, right? Most of the time, that player can harm you as soon as they cross the court.
The shift is shocking. Instead of mentorship, Caitlyn Clark is facing thinly veiled hostility masked as criticism. Instead of being welcomed, she's being warned, "You're not one of us, not yet, maybe not ever." And it's not just talk. On the court, the evidence is growing.
We say the players know the league. They are just doing this out of spite. Now, look at the fan voting results. Look at the millions of votes here for Caitlyn Clark. You have Collier, the anonymous vote speaks for itself, where they're doing this out of spite.
Caitlyn is being picked up 94 feet every possession, often by players whose sole purpose is to wear her out. She's hit with hard screens, shoved off the ball, hacked on drives, and nothing gets called.
You pick her up full court because you don't want her to control the game. You want to speed her up. You want her to tire her out.
If a team is picking up one player 94 feet all game, it means the scouting report says that player doesn't like pressure / contact, is slow, or can't dribble. That's what the full court press is used for, man. To wear down on your opponent.
Fans have noticed. Commentators have noticed. Even former players watching from the sidelines have called it out as targeted frustration, not strategy. And that's when the danger becomes real. Because this isn't just a rookie being challenged. This is a coordinated attempt to break her mentally and physically. When referees swallow the whistle, when elbows fly without consequence,
JC Sheldon intentionally pokes Caitlyn in the eye for the second time in the game. We covered the first eye poke in another video. She then gets up in her face as her eyes poke. Then, of course, again, like every time, all the other teammates from another team come over to attack Caitlyn, and it's 5-on-1. And then you're just left with that. And that's how it is. And that's how it goes. Paige doesn't have to deal with any of this. Paige doesn't have to deal with any of this.
when veterans go after her with a personal edge, It crosses a line, and it's a line no one in the league seems willing to defend. One former WNBA player said, "You pick her up full court not because she's slow, but because you're scared of what she can do when she gets going." That's the truth hiding beneath the excuses.
They need to be on their knees begging Caitlyn Clark to never retire for what she's done for the WNBA. And she's made this a profitable business.
Chartered planes, increase in salary, sold out crowds, improved TV rating.
Clark isn't being disrespected because she's weak. She's being targeted because she's unstoppable. Because no matter how many bodies they throw at her, she keeps dropping dimes, hitting logo threes and commanding the spotlight. And that spotlight, that's what truly bothers them. She has more fans, more endorsements, more coverage, more power. And in a league that's been starved for attention for years, some of its veterans are watching Caitlyn Clark get it all overnight. That's why the shade is so sharp. That's why the fouls are so hard. It's not about basketball anymore. It's about ego. It's about identity. And to some, Caitlyn Clark's rise feels like a threat.
Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that if you are a it's why they do it to Luka. If you're a heliocentric player, you want to tire them out. You want to tire out ball-dominant players. That is why they're picked up 94 feet. Not because they can't dribble, not because they're scared to turn them over, because how many times has Caitlyn Clark turned the ball over dribbling up to the halfway line? I understand she did it 2 consecutive possessions against the Aces.
But here's the danger. When players act out of resentment and the league does nothing to stop it, they're not just risking Caitlyn's comfort, they're risking her safety. Because when the hits get harder and the silence grows louder, it's not just hate, it's harm. And every game that passes without accountability brings us closer to a breaking point. Now the fear isn't just theoretical, it's becoming real. How far will this go before someone gets seriously hurt? Caitlyn Clark is playing every game with a target on her back, and what started as competitive fire has now blurred into something far more dangerous. She's been shoved to the floor, leveled by illegal screens, and hit with cheap fouls that somehow never draw a whistle. And while fans are outraged, the league's silence is deafening. The WNBA has a responsibility to protect its players, especially the ones carrying the weight of the sport's future.
I know she just had a game that was fire. What, she had like 32 points and 7 assists, something like that.
It's unbelievable. It really is. There is so much pettiness, jealousy, resentment.
Any professional player who has not exceeded Caitlyn's earnings in 2024, which is $11 million, should keep their mouth shut about her.
Yet Caitlyn Clark is being left exposed, both on the court and in the media. She's being painted as overhyped, privileged, or soft, all while taking hits that would send most players to the locker room. But instead of defending her, some veterans and former stars are stoking the fire. They're validating the aggression with subtle jabs, coded criticism, and performative applause when she gets knocked down and doesn't get up. One commentator put it bluntly, "This ain't physical basketball anymore. This is personal warfare disguised as defense." And they're not wrong, because when the contact exceeds competitive limits and the intent becomes to punish rather than to play, you're no longer talking about hard-nosed basketball. You're talking about assault in uniform. And yet Caitlyn keeps showing up. She keeps playing. She keeps taking the hits and answering with buckets, assists, and poise. That's what infuriates them the most, because she's not folding. No matter how many bodies they throw at her, she's still outpacing them in points, in ratings, in cultural relevance. And for players who spent years climbing that mountain, only to be eclipsed by a rookie in a single season, it burns.
The other players in the league can't stand Caitlyn Clark. I mean, it's baffling. I've seen some people trying to claim she shouldn't be in the game. She's tied for the league lead in assists, for crying out loud. She's averaging 18 points a game. I mean, she's in a 3-game shooting downturn. All right? A 3-game shooting slump. And other than that, and the injuries, it's been business as usual for most games. And she had a triple-double this year.
But let's be clear, this isn't about competition anymore. It's about intimidation. It's about erasing a star before she can truly take flight. And if the league continues to look away, it's only a matter of time before a hard foul turns into a career-altering injury. Caitlyn Clark isn't just fighting for wins, she's fighting to stay safe. And the scariest part? The people coming for her know exactly what they're doing, and they're not stopping. This is no longer about basketball, it's about survival. Caitlyn Clark is being targeted, not just with words, not just with game plans, but with force.
These players, they're already envious and jealous of her. So if you're going to give them an inch, they're going to take a mile.
It shows their pettiness. It shows the envy. It shows the spite.
Yes.
Of players in the league. That's what it shows.
Because if you don't guard her 94 feet or you don't make it uncomfortable for her to cross that line.
But they guard her when she steps off the plane. Exactly.
Folks get on here and act like being guarded 94 feet is a compliment. It's not.
The players coming for her aren't just competitors. They're angry, envious, and emboldened by a system that's refusing to protect her. Every shove, every uncalled fall, every bitter comment from former WNBA voices is a warning shot. And yet the league remains silent. Caitlyn Clark is the face of the WNBA. She's filling arenas, breaking records, and bringing a generation of new fans to the sport. But instead of being protected, she's being punished for it. And if this continues, the consequences won't just be a missed call or a bruised ego. It could be a serious injury.
Absolutely pure jealousy.
Jealousy, baby.
Someday they will realize what she has done for all of the players in the WNBA. Chartered planes, increase in salary, sold out crowds, improved TV ratings.
But they guard her when she steps off the plane. Exactly. They guard her full court. They guard her when she wakes up, when she goes to sleep. 94 feet, 75 feet, hand checking, blitzing, physicality, rough her up. They throw the kitchen sink when they're going up against Caitlyn Clark.
It's unbelievable. It really is. There is so much pettiness, jealousy, resentment.
The league has a choice to make: defend the future or watch it fall. If you see what's happening, if you know this goes beyond the game, like, comment, and share to stand with Caitlyn Clark, because silence right now could cost everything later.